In this video, I'm going to be talking about the most requested thing about the RC-5, which is MIDI. See that? Right there, MIDI. So once I got my hands on an RC-5, the questions started flooding in about looping, about the rhythm, but the biggest one has always been about MIDI, and more importantly, MIDI control. On the market today, there are a load of MIDI controllers, whether they're foot pedals or they're tabletop or even keyboards. Now, I did a video all about external foot switches like the Boss FS5, 6 and 7, and if you want to see that video, I'll pop it in the cards now. But MIDI can expand the functionality of something like this beyond your wildest dreams. With the RC-5, you've got a few MIDI controls that you can do, and you can plug it in for MIDI in and MIDI out. And of course, we can send MIDI to something else from here, and also we can get it to receive MIDI to tell it to do different things. So today we're going to jump into MIDI, and we're going to have a look at an external foot pedal. Now, I've put chapters in the video, so if you want to skip across to the part that you need, be my guest. Please bear in mind for this video, I'm using a specific foot pedal, and that has certain functions and features that not all foot pedals have. But if you have a MIDI foot pedal and you want to look at controlling the RC-5 with it, then stick around. I'm going to show you how to do that today. Okay, so what you see here looks quite complex, but it actually isn't. What this is a MIDI pedal, which is called a Morningstar MC8, and it's completely controllable, and that is going into the RC-5. Now with the RC-5, it has MIDI, and it has MIDI in and MIDI out by a TRS jack, and you also have MIDI in and out via USB as well. The Morningstar is completely programmable, and what I've done just for this example is I've programmed it up for 8 buttons to do 8 things on here. Now for the rest of the controls, we've got CC numbers, and CC numbers are what MIDI are. So it's a CC number that sends a signal out from the Morningstar over to the RC-5. The RC-5 has CC numbers ranging from CC 80 to 87, so that's 8 in total. So MIDI clock doesn't actually take up one of the CC numbers, so that's fine. And what we're going to do now is we're going to use the other 7 that I've already pre-programmed up just for this example, where we can actually tell the RC-5 what these mean. I do have a video coming out about the Morningstar MC8, and if you're watching this in the future, then it's already out. I'll put a card up now so you can go and watch what this thing does. But very quickly, it has traditional MIDI, it has USB MIDI, and it has TRS, and these are Omni ports on the back. There's 4 of them, and what we've got here is we've got our little cable, which I've actually robbed from my little microphone, and it's TRS with an adapter to mini TRS in on the RC-5. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into setup, and we're going to scroll across until we find MIDI. When we click on MIDI, you'll see RX control channel, and this basically specifies the receiving channel for control changes that switch memories or controls on the RC-5. So we can leave it on number 1, or if, let's say for example, this is sending all the channels to number 10, then what we do is we click it and we put this on number 10. The next setting is Omni, and Omni is on as by standard. What this does is it specifies the MIDI Omni mode. Messages are received by all MIDI channels regardless of the previous one we've just done, but then you can then turn that off, and then all it will do is only receive from the channel that you've specified. For simplicity, we're just going to leave it on, so it doesn't matter which channel at the moment, because we're only receiving from one MIDI device, which happens to be the Morningstar. Now the other part of MIDI is actually drums and the rhythm section. So what you can do is you can actually then have note channel as well, so dedicated channel just for the notes for the MIDI. So say you want to output the MIDI channel for the drum section, for the rhythm section, you can transmit that over to say a device that's a drum machine, and then it can mimic the rhythm section in another device. Either that, or you could send the MIDI information over to a DAW, so like Logic or GarageBand, so then you could then use different kinds of drums. The next one is TX channel. And TX is transmit, so it's basically specifying the MIDI transmit channel. Now if it says RX CTL or RX control, what that means is it's going to be the same as what you picked in the very first menu. So let's go back to the first menu. We picked channel number 10. So that would mean that that is going to be channel number 10 as well. Nice and simple. But you can actually change it over from channel 1 to channel 16 if you want to. The next one is sync clock. Now, I leave this on auto, but there's loads of different versions. And what this is it specifies how the MIDI clock is synchronized. Now, I want to be able to tap the tempo and change it from the Morningstar over to here. So I leave it on auto. But what you can do is you can switch it over. So there's a couple of things. First of all, internal. So it stays internal and the clock basically won't change whether you're changing from a different device. It also means that this one is the main one. You can actually send the MIDI out from here. So if you change the tempo on here, everything else changes. The alternative one is MIDI, of course, and you can just say MIDI, and it synchronizes the MIDI in connector. Or you can say USB, and then the USB will actually do it from the USB port. The reason you would change this is if you have multiple devices. So let's just say we've got the Morningstar plugged in, obviously by the TRS, and that's fine, that's MIDI. But USB-wise, I've got something else capturing the MIDI of the drums. So I don't want them to talk to each other because I want them to be separate. So you can change that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it to auto. Clock out quite simply means that the clock speed of this is transmitted out to somewhere else. And it's on as standard, and most people would leave that on, because if you wanted to send that to, say, a drum machine, it would then know what the BPM is. Obviously, we're sending it inwards, but then if you want to send it out, it would do that. Now, the next one's really interesting because this is called sync start. Now, it's set to all as standard. What this does is it specifies what starts in synchronization when a MIDI start message is received. So, all means both the track and the rhythm, the loop and the rhythm at the same time. So it's set to all by standard, so that's both the track and the rhythm is synchronized when a MIDI start message is received. And then you can change it. So I could just say, well, I just want the rhythm. So I only want to control the rhythm by MIDI, but I don't want it to start the loop. Or the alternative is you can say off completely. The next one is PC out, and PC stands for program change as opposed to control change. PC changes can be transmitted and sent out to another device. And the final two are MIDI through and USB through. Remember, you've got a TRS and you've also got a USB port on the back as well. So you've got MIDI through and you've got USB through. What these two do is it specifies the connectors from which MIDI messages are received at the MIDI in connector or the USB port. So, for example, MIDI through is off. What we can do is we can say MIDI out, USB out, or MIDI and USB out. With the USB through, you can actually send it through. It's off at the moment. We could just send it through the MIDI out. We could just send it just through the USB out, or again, through both. Now, to get down to actually changing these over so we can actually dictate what this does to this, we need to go into control. So we're going to go into setup, and we're going to go across to control. When we go into control, first of all, you've got the pedal itself, and you want to change what that does. And also you've got control 1 and control 2. I've done a video on that if you want to have a look at changing that over for, say, an FS6 or an FS7. I'll pop that in the cards now. But once you get past that and you've got the expression pedal, then what you've also got is you've got the CC numbers. So the first one is CC80 and it goes up to CC87, and you'll see function, and function is off for each one. There is a huge list of everything you can do with this, and you can change it via MIDI, and it's basically sending the signal to the MIDI number to say, do this thing. Now, I don't have 80, I start with 81 on this one. So 81 on this one is the beat start stop. So what I want to do is go over to 81, click it, and I'm going to go and find Rhythm PS. Rhythm PS is basically switch the rhythm between play and stop. The next one I've put along here, I've just written down as start stop. So what I'm going to do is 82 is going to be play start stop. That's really useful because that means I don't have to double tap that to stop and start the loop. 83 is memory down, and I'm going to actually change the memory on this. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go across to memory DEC, that's memory decrease. 84, which is this one, is, as you can see, undo redo. So I'm going to change that one over to undo redo. So that's track undo redo. 85, we've got rhythm variants. Now you can have an A and a B on this for each drum track. So let's say I want to use the B, it's got a little bit more variant on it for a chorus, and the A for a verse. So we're going to change that over. So 85, we're going to have a look and find it's going to be rhythm variation. The next one is 86, and it's reverse. This is one of the things you can do on this one now. So let's go over and find track reverse. That's what we want. And finally, 87 is going to be memory up. So we'll use 87 and scroll over until we have got memory increase. Okay, so what I've just done is plugged a microphone in to the jack input just so we can have a play with this. So first of all, let's have a look at tap tempo. So if I tap it, you'll notice this will change 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's now in time. So now the tempo is set, then the next one is beat start stop. I don't have to start it from bending down and pressing this button, or even before loop, I can just press this button right now. And just as easily I can stop it. So the next one is start and stop all, and if there's nothing recorded on this, then it will go straight into record mode. So let's make a quick beat. So straight away, you can see that this has started it, that's fine. And if I just press this again, we stop straight away. It's much, much easier doing that than double tapping on the RC-5. The next two are memory down and memory up. So this one, obviously, if it goes to memory down, it'll go to 99, 98, 97, 96, and we go on memory up, 97, 98, 99, and back to number 1. Now there's nothing back on there, so let's recreate our beat again. The next one on this side is E, which is undo, redo. So quite simply, if I just add some overdubs, I can undo it and redo it really, really quickly without having to press like 2 seconds or anything like that. So we'll do that now. And we'll just undo it. And then we'll redo it. And we'll stop right there. Now I've left these two for last, and the reason for that is because I've set them up in a way where I have to hold my foot down continuously for them to be active. So the reason for that is rhythm variation. Maybe you want it for the chorus and you would just want to hold it down and then lift it again. And then this one is reversed for the very, very same reason. So let me show you what I mean. First of all, with the rhythm, let's start the beat and we'll start the rhythm as well. I just want to point something out as well. When you've got this set up this way, it's really useful. You can start the beat first, and I can actually press start, stop before the bar begins. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we've got this beat going, then this is rhythm variance for the... We got the ride coming in, and if I let go, I'll go back to the way it was. Reverse. Bring it back. Undo. Not to go too deep into it, there are a minefield of MIDI pedals out there, right from the old FC B1010 right through to something really, really modern. Now I've got the Morningstar MC8, so if you were looking for a recommendation, have a look at Morningstar. They are fantastic because they're completely programmable. If you have found the content of this video useful, then please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me and it helps the channel grow. If you want to support me a little bit further, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. Buy me a coffee keeps this channel alive, and to those who have already done so, thank you very much. There is also now a YouTube membership, so there's a little join button next door to subscribe, where for £2.99 a month, you get access to my videos the second I upload them onto YouTube, not the date they're scheduled to drop. Sometimes I might upload it on a Tuesday, but it won't actually come out until a Friday. But if you subscribe, you'll get it on the Tuesday. Make sense? That's the only tier that's up there at the moment, but we will be putting more tiers up for 2021. But if you want to have a look at the membership or buy me a coffee, then please do so. If you have any questions regarding MIDI, be aware, it's a minefield when you get out there, but Boss have simplified it really easily with just knowing what the CC numbers are and a range of things that you can do with it. Then all you've got to do is marry that up to your pedal or control or whatever you're using, and you're good to go. But if you do still have a question, please put it in the comment section below. And if you just like it and you like the video, give us a comment as well. I do like to go through them and try and answer as many as I can, as fast as I can. So folks, that's my take on the RC-5 and MIDI and what it can do for my MIDI pedal. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.